preamble to the Constitution. The preamble is the introduction to the document itself. Turn in your text to Appendix A and read with me. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Now, the language is simple, but the meaning is deep and thought-provoking. We, the people of the United States, simply means everyone, not just the framers, writers, of the Constitution. The framers were agents or representatives. They represented all of the people to form a new government that they hoped would last a long time. And the preamble gives the reasons for ordaining and establishing the Constitution. Why are the framers saying to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility?
Well, when we were colonies under England's government, the union wasn't really perfect. The English government put taxes into effect, and they closed the ports of the colonies so the people couldn't get products they needed. And then, under the Articles of Confederation, the states were powerful and could have their own armies, raise their own taxes, and charge people for coming into their state.
Why do you think they needed to say they wanted to establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility?
I don't think they probably needed to say they wanted to establish justice because we had justice. But then, maybe we didn't. The British had required people to house soldiers in their homes when it wasn't wartime. So maybe if justice means fairness, then maybe they did need to include those words. Yeah, maybe they did.
Anything else? What about ensuring domestic tranquility?
I think that means the framers wanted to make sure we have peace here at home. I am pretty sure tranquility means peace. And they wanted to make sure it was peaceful at all times. I remember from a history class that there were riots and disturbances when poor people wanted government help and better living situations. I am thinking about the farmers, I think in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, who had crop failures and were losing their lands because of it. So the framers probably wanted to stop things like riots.
Your answers are good, and you are right about the things which happened in the past. Now, what do the words provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity mean?
I think providing for the common defense means that the framers knew we had just fought a long and costly war, and that we needed to be prepared if ever we had to fight again. Also, I think they were thinking about making our new country safe from people who might want to fight us because they thought we were young and weak. Promoting the general welfare is a pretty broad term. It probably means the new government under the Constitution will provide for ways that everyone's rights and interests and well-being can be looked after, and that the government isn't just going to look after special interest groups. As to the last reason, securing the blessings of liberty, I am not sure, but I think it means that the Constitution will have language that can be flexible to meet the changing needs of society, and that through government actions, the framers wanted the people to remain free. I'm sorry, but I can't answer the last part of the question because I don't know the meaning of the word posterity.
Your answers are right on point also. Posterity means future generations. So when the framers were talking about liberty, they were meaning they wanted it for them and the people living at that time, but also wanted it for future generations. Now that we have talked about the introduction to the Constitution, I think you'll be better able to understand the body of the document. Next class, we will discuss the legislative branch, which is set out in Article 1 of the Constitution.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer.
Number 12. What is the talk mainly about? Number 13. Why does the professor mention the word framers? Number 14. What does the professor think about the term common defense used by framers?
結構ゆっくりした展開になりそうですかね。
Number 15.
桂馬を跳ね
According
る
to
手。
the professor, what does posterity mean?
桂馬を跳ねる手がありますね。
Number 16.
同桂で角成りを狙うっていう。
What does the professor say about the organization of the document?
Listen again to part of a student's response. Then answer the question.
I remember from a history class that there were riots and disturbances when poor people wanted government help and better living situations. I am thinking about the farmers. I think in Massachusetts and Pennsylvania, who had crop failures and were losing their lands because of it.
桂馬の
Number
活用ですね。
17. Why does the student say this?
I remember from a history class that there were riots and disturbances when poor people wanted government help and better living situations.
Passage 4. Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class. The circulatory system.
We're going to talk about the circulatory system today, mainly about the circulatory system in humans. As you all probably know, the heart and lungs are part of the body's circulatory system. But there are really three parts: the lungs, which involve the pulmonary circulation, the heart, which is the coronary circulation, and the rest of the system, which is called the systemic circulation. All parts of the system have to function independently so they can all work together. Everyone needs circulation, and good circulation, for life to continue. Think of the circulatory system as a circle. As the blood moves around that circle, it collects new oxygen and disposes of wastes. After the blood gathers new oxygen, the circulation process takes the new oxygenated blood to tissues of the body. The tissues give off waste which collects into the blood cells and is carried away. As the blood travels through body organs, the liver for example, the waste is removed. Then the blood goes back to the lungs for more new oxygen. The circulatory process continues this cycle as long as there is life in the cells, tissues or organism through which it passes. In animals, there are two main types of circulatory systems. First, you need to remember that invertebrates don't have circulatory
結構
systems.
相手を追い詰めてますか
They
ら
don't have
ね。
multiple layers of cells, and therefore they don't need a circulatory system. Their cells are close enough to their surfaces and the external environment that gases, oxygen, nutrients and waste diffuse into and out of their cells without help. This is what is called simple osmosis and diffusion. But a circulation system is needed when animals have multiple layers of cells. The reason is that their cells are too far from their external environment and they cannot take on oxygen and get rid of waste by osmosis. They need help. So this is where the two types of circulatory systems come into play. You have one system called the open system and the other the closed system.
一旦
Let's
桂馬を逃
talk
げて
about the
おくか。
open system first. In an open circulatory system, there is not a true heart, and there
桂
are
馬を
no
逃げると
capillaries.
下打ちありますね。
Since there is no heart,
下打ち
the
は逃げれ
blood
ば
vessels move the blood along and act as the pump to keep the blood going. There is also a cleansing process that occurs. But in actuality, the system isn't very efficient. Insects and many mollusks have this kind of a system. It works for the insects because they have several openings in their bodies that let the air and the blood come in contact with each other.
これ、桂打ちがいいですか
The
ね。
closed
銀が逃
circulatory
げたら銀
system
打ち。
is a much more efficient system. But there is more than one type of closed system, and each system is adapted to different kinds of high invertebrates and vertebrates. With a few exceptions, in each closed system you have a heart pumping blood, and you have a system of arteries, veins, and capillaries through which the blood flows and the waste is removed. Now, let's look at some vertebrates. Fish have a two-chambered heart. It has one atrium and a ventricle. It has a valve between its chambers and its walls are muscular. If you have ever seen a live fish, you know that a fish's gills are very important. It is here where new oxygen is received and carbon dioxide is gotten rid of. The heart has pumped the blood to the gills. The exchanges are made there, and then the blood is moved to the fish's organs where more exchanges are made. These exchanges include nutrients, gases, and wastes. Once the circuit is complete, the process starts over. The next step up the vertebrate ladder is the vertebrate with a three-chambered heart. The frog is a good example of this level. These vertebrates have a heart with two atria and one ventricle. Blood leaves the ventricle and travels to the aorta. Because the aorta is divided or forked, the blood can travel either to the lungs or to other organs. Which atrium the blood passes through depends on whether the blood is being routed to the lungs or the other organs. But in either event, all the blood passes through the ventricle. Finally, we come to the highest level, the level with humans, birds, and all other mammals. This level of vertebrates has four-chambered hearts, two atria and two ventricles, and very efficient movement of blood. Also, very highly oxygenated blood. In the four-chambered hearts, the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood don't mix. In humans, the atria, or cavities, form the top part of the heart. The ventricles are at the bottom, and it is the left ventricle which contracts very strongly. I am going to stop at this point, and next time we will talk in detail about the composition of the human heart and how it works.
Now get ready to answer the questions. You may use your notes to help you answer.
Number 18. What aspect of the body does the professor mainly discuss? Number 19. What does the professor say about ventricles?
ここに角ですかね。
Number 20. What is not part of the circulatory system?
Listen again to part of the lecture, then answer the question.
If you've ever seen a live fish, you know that a fish's gills are very important. It is here where new oxygen is received and carbon dioxide is gotten rid of. The heart has pumped the blood to the gills. The exchanges are made there, and then the blood is moved to the fish's organs, where more exchanges are made.
いやー、見事な様子でした。はい、ありがとうございました。はい。
What does the professor imply when he says this?
It is here where new oxygen is received and carbon dioxide is gotten rid of.
1700台に行かないといけませんからね。はい。僕の最高記録は1674ぐらいなんで。はい。1700に行かないと。
We come to the highest level, the level with humans, birds, and all other mammals.
2段ってことは最高のレートが1800ぐらいいったと思う。1850ぐらいいったと思うんで、この人も結構、最近腕を落としてる感じですね。はい。それにしても、2段の方に勝ったのは嬉しかったですね。
Finally, we come to the highest level, the level with humans, birds, and all other mammals.
本当レベル上がってますかね。
How does the professor introduce the types of circulatory systems?
これ僕に勝つのは大変ですよ、これ。いやー、これ結構ね、すごい罪ですよね。はい。これに勝てたら逆にすごいですよね。はい、ではご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録をしていただけると最新のアップロード情報をお届けできます。